Welcome in Modeling with Foam Board Part 11. In this episode we will explain how we make rocks. Also this time we use the thickest foam plate available. It is about 15 mm thick. And again we peel off the cardboard layer from the foam plate. It goes smoothly and it goes well. We let the foam plate on the back on its place. The rock wall that we make will get a place on the small layout we made earlier. There are several ways to create rocks, with paste for example, but the benefit of using foam is in that way that it is very light and it is also not necessary to let it dry. Using a foam board is especially interesting if you create flat rocks, for example. And the flat character is relatively spoken. As you can see, it is quite rough. This time we don't show how we create a natural rock face, but an excavated or carved rock face. This way of making rocks I used by the creation of my mini layout Carrière de Petit Granit. This way of working creates the possibility to work fast in an easy and cheap way. We start creating the horizontal joints. To do so we cut in a little angle and we do it in both directions. In that way we create a small gap, as a matter of speaking. The horizontal joints are in fact layers of stone and they form a stratification, and we try to imitate by adding those gaps. We give every layer of rock a wavy profile and transform the flat character of the foam plate. We do this with our crushing knife on each layer of stone. Actually, it looks a bit like a sawtooth profile.
Het is een beetje alsof je een zaagtandprofiel tracht weer te geven.
With the point of a screwdriver, we bring on little scratches to imitate schedule spores. And with the corner of the point of a screwdriver, we press it in the foam, and we do it in each stone layer, layer by layer. With the back of a knife we imitate erosion, fracture planes or whatever you will call it, just by pressing it into the foam layer. And also again we do it each layer by layer, just pressing the knife into the foam. Here on this spot you clearly can see the results of working that way. The gaps we created are in fact too straight to be nice and beautiful. Therefore it is necessary to change them in a more carved and broken way. Changing it in that way creates a more realistic look of the rock face. Eventually we can add right angle break lines on the layers. and just by pressing the screwdriver like you see. Now we paint our rock face with white acrylic paint. We do it in several layers of paint. We try to fill up the structure and all the little gaps. We also keep in mind that the foam plate absorbs a lot of paint. So once this is nicely done, we can continue our job. So our paint is completely dried up. As you can see, the rock face is completely covered with paint. We already brought on a wash of yellow ochre, burnt umber, and the third wash is slate grey. During this process, we keep attention on mixing well our washes, because it happens often that on the bottom of the wash the paint will get a bit thicker, and that is important to mix it well. Once the three basic colors are brought on, we can go further. With a wash of raw umber, we bring on a paint veil over the entire surface of our rock formation. After the wash layers are completely dried up, we bring on a wash layer with black color. The black wash is 1 part water, 1 part paint. With this wash, we accentuate all the cracks and little gaps in the rock face and make it look nice. After the washes are completely dried up, we can start with sand our rock face. And doing it that way, we bring the basic paint layer back to the front. And in that way, we create extra variation in our rock face. So, our rock wall is finished, and with bringing on some green dots, the rock face looks immediately more realistic. As you can see, our rock face have got a place on our small workpiece. In next episode, we will create a sink roof and place it here on this spot. So, I hope to see you next time.